After his decisive victory at Austerlitz in December 1805, Napoleon emerged as the dominant force in Europe. Austria was compelled to sign the Treaty of Pressburg, surrendering territories and withdrawing from the conflict. Shortly after, the Holy Roman Empire dissolved, bringing an end to a 1,000-year-old institution. Napoleon then reorganized the German states into the Confederation of the Rhine, consolidating his control over them. In early 1806, Napoleon dispatched French troops to invade Naples, ousting the Bourbon king who had aligned with the coalition. Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, was installed as King of Naples. Tensions with Prussia escalated when Napoleon reneged on a promise by offering Hanover, which had previously been pledged to Prussia, back to Britain. Enraged, King Frederick William III, encouraged by his determined wife, Queen Louise, was finally driven to declare war. By the summer of 1806, Prussia had made a critical error. The Prussian leadership acted independently, without coordinating with potential allies. Russia and Britain were too distant and unprepared to offer immediate aid, leaving Prussia largely isolated, save for the minor support of Saxony. In October 1806, Napoleon set his sights on Saxony, leading a formidable army of 180,000 strong and 256 artillery pieces. Moving through the Franconian forest, the Prussian army awaited Napoleon's advance with a force composed of about 130,000 Prussians and 20,000 Saxons. The Prussian forces, commanded by Duke of Brunswick, positioned farther west, around Erfurt on the River Somme. Brunswick's initial plan to flank the French was thwarted by their swift advance, forcing him to retreat northward to establish a stronger defensive position. On October 10th, Lanz's the 5th Corps encountered a Prussian advance guard at Saalfeld. The battle ended quickly, with the French decisively routing the Prussians and killing Prince Louis Frederick, a cousin of the king. This victory energized the French forces. By October 13th, Lanz reported the discovery of a larger Prussian force near Jena to Napoleon. Convinced he had found the main Prussian army, Napoleon issued orders for his corps to concentrate for battle, instructing Bernadotte's the 1st Corps and Davout's the 3rd Corps to cross the Somme and strike the Prussian flank. Napoleon underestimated the situation, as Marshal Lanz faced a 55,000-strong Prussian rearguard led by General Hohenlohe. Meanwhile, the main Prussian army, consisting of 64,000 troops under the Duke of Brunswick, was advancing towards Davout's the 3rd Corps further north. The Battle of Jena started at 6:30 a.m. on October 14th, under thick fog. Lanz the 5th Corps had already taken position on the plateau west of the town, aiming to push the Prussians back and clear space for the French army's full deployment. As the French launched attacks on the Prussian flanks, supporting units maneuvered into place. Early clashes were indecisive. After capturing Clausewitz with little effort, the French forces met stronger resistance at Cospeda. Despite the challenge, they eventually overcame the Prussians, forcing them to fall back in the center. General Tauentzien, leading the Prussian advance guard, managed to regroup some of his troops and launched a counterattack that briefly slowed the French advance. On the left, Augereau's the 7th Corps advanced without opposition. Meanwhile, on the right, General Holzendorf's forces struck the French flank. In a short but fierce engagement, the French pushed the Prussians back behind the village of Nerkwitz, fighting on until the Prussian unit collapsed. Marshal Ney, eager for battle, moved his troops forward without waiting for orders. His initial success soon turned into overextension as he faced intense artillery fire. The Prussians counterattacked fiercely, threatening to surround Ney's forces. To prevent disaster, Napoleon ordered Lannes to assist Ney, leaving the center exposed. To stabilize the situation, Napoleon deployed the Imperial Guard to hold the center until Ney could regroup. General Hohenlohe awaited the arrival of 15,000 additional troops, led by General Ruckel. In the meantime, he focused on fortifying his defenses and conducting limited counterattacks. At around 1 p.m., Napoleon ordered the French corps to launch a sweeping assault, which forced the Prussian army to hold its position momentarily before ultimately breaking into a chaotic retreat. Murat's cavalry surged forward in pursuit, mowing down numerous fleeing soldiers. Meanwhile, General Ruckel arrived at a critical moment, but their intervention was ineffective. They momentarily halted the advance of the French, the Fifth Corps, only to be swiftly outflanked, devastated by cannon fire, and overwhelmed by charging French cuirassiers. "12 miles north of Jena, near Auerstedt, Marshal Davout the Third Corps advanced southwest, planning to strike at the Prussian left flank. With only 26,000 men and 48 guns, Davout found himself facing the main Prussian army of 64,000 strong under command of Duke of Brunswick, compounded by the absence of Bernadotte's the First Corps, which was meant to provide support. The Prussians sought to block Davout's advance at the Caisson Pass. As they positioned their troops, Blücher's cavalry joined the fray. Briefly driving the French forces back. By 8:30 a.m., the Duke of Brunswick arrived, coordinating a flanking maneuver. But French reinforcements soon bolstered their lines. The French counterattacked, forcing Blücher's cavalry into retreat, which triggered a broader Prussian assault. By 10 a.m., both the Duke of Brunswick and Schmetto were mortally wounded, plunging the Prussian command into disarray. By 11 a.m., as the Prussian forces faltered, Davout seized the moment and launched a decisive counterattack. By noon, the Prussian center was shattered, compelling a full retreat. Napoleon praised Davout and made him Duke of Auerstedt. The Prussian resistance weakened after the Duke of Brunswick was mortally wounded, leading to mass surrenders. At Erfurt on October 16th, Bernadotte defeated the Duke of Württemberg at Halle. Napoleon entered Berlin on October 25th, and by early November, Prussian forces, including Blücher's army, were trapped in Lübeck. Bernadotte's relentless pursuit ended with Blücher's surrender at the Battle of Lübeck on November 6 to 7th, followed by the fall of Magdeburg on November 11th, signaling the collapse of Prussian resistance. However, King Frederick William refused to negotiate peace, hoping for Russian intervention. Despite Napoleon's victories, the war was not yet over.